Okay, folks, on Pro Football Ireland, on the big day, the game of the international games are announced. Delighted to be joined by NFL UK GM Henry Hodgson. Henry, it's always good to see you, especially on this big day for the league.
Yeah, this is always a fun one. So it's nice to share this with you and to share it with NFL fans in the UK and Ireland.
It's a funny one. It's a funny one, Henry, because, Michael's after saying what a big day it is there. I describe this as kind of like Thanksgiving for UK fans and Irish fans
Yeah.
because we're able to give thanks to you. Christmas Day obviously comes when the games come around. But how satisfying is it for you when this kind of all stays under wraps and the leaks don't come? Because I was absolutely blown away thinking that we had one game, but it was completely different, the games as they transpired when they came out. How exciting is that for you to keep everything under wraps and give everyone that big gift?
Yeah, I think to take your analogy a little bit further, it's a little bit like Christmas. I've got 3 kids, so maybe that's like the 3 games, and it's a little bit like Christmas Eve, where you know what's wrapped up for them, and you're looking forward to seeing their faces in the morning when they get to open their presents. So, I'm excited, and always one of the most fun things is seeing fans like yourselves and your reactions to the games that we've got.
I described it as jaw-dropping when I seen it. I guess the first thing that we should focus on with the UK market, Henry, especially is the Jaguars and the fact that they're going to be both an away team and the home team, playing the Falcons first off and then playing the Bills. First time this has ever happened. I'd say you're delighted to get that underway as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, I think it shows how committed the Jags are to the UK and to growing their audience here. But it also shows, we've tried to sort of evolve and change and grow in what we're doing from one game back in 2007 to multiple games over the years. And so I suppose the logical next step would be looking at what would happen if a team could play back-to-back weeks. And like a lot of the evolution that we've had over those years, we're lucky to have a team that partners with us, like the Jags, who can work with us on that and want to themselves to do things that can help them grow their fan base in the UK.
Is it easier now to get the teams over? Because like last year we saw an insane slate of games that saw the Vikings could have changed their season had the Saints not double doinked the uprights. The Broncos had an insane game, and Jaguars, there was a real flash in the pan as things turned out. And then we had the Giants beating the Packers that really put them on the map, and everyone sat forward. And it kind of, the attention that it brought to those teams, it kind of said, look, we literally got so many more playoff teams than we've ever seen before this side of the pond. And I guess it's kind of like the taboo around coming over this far is kind of gone. It's very easy to do, and it doesn't upset your season.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. It's a really good point. They, teams have seen that you can travel to the UK from your hometown in the US and really not miss a beat. I think the number of times clubs have done it now probably helps, and there are a lot of coaches who've done it, either with their current teams or with their former teams, either as a head coach or an assistant coach. So each of them probably has some kind of philosophy as to how to approach things. And the sort of early on, I think the received wisdom was, yeah, but we'll be jet lagged when we get back, or we'll be jet lagged when we get there. And I think the fact that teams have gone on and been successful, and that started, by the way, in year one back in 2007 with the Giants, who I think in retrospect credit the fact that they spent a week in London almost as the reason that it helped them win a Super Bowl, because it brought the whole team together. So yeah, I think we're sort of past the idea that lack of sleep a week later might become an issue.
Yeah, it's funny because you're talking about the camaraderie, the thing that they develop. It's almost like a mini training camp for some teams, Henry. And for the
Exactly.
Jaguars, they're going to have that 2 week period as well. It would
Mm-hmm.
be amiss of me not to mention Germany, and obviously seeing the Dolphins coming over, that stood out to me like a sore thumb in a good way. I was like, oh my God, what had happened? Going back to what Mark said, like just the fact that this has not come out and it's going to be a great surprise for fans. It shows you from where you've talked about in 07, 08 there to now, just the quality of games internationally. It's superb.
Yeah, look, and I think even back in 2007, I know that game, in the end, the quality of that game wasn't great. And the Dolphins, when they came here in 2007, weren't a wonderful team. But at the same time, I think, over the years, we've had some really good international games. And this year, I think especially the quality across the 5 games in Europe is stellar. So the star players that are going to be coming along between, from a UK perspective, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, who's going to be a star, I think, in the NFL. All of these guys are players that I think fans are going to be really excited to see.
We could almost play a game on that one, Henry, because it was the stars that we have coming over. So I was thinking if you could do a fantasy team out of the players that are coming over,
Okay,
right? Well,
interesting.
so if you could select between Bijan Robinson, Travis Etienne, or Derrick Henry.
That's a tough one. I mean, I suppose Derrick Henry, just because we know what he can do, would be my pick. But that's a difficult one. Bijan Robinson, I think, is going to be a star in the NFL.
Maybe if we were playing Dynasty, if you had to pick your quarterback, would you go Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, or Lamar Jackson?
And are we playing? Just to be clear, are we playing fantasy football here? Because I think
We
one of
could be
those guys.
anything. It's so amazing that we
I
have
mean,
this
yeah,
talent.
any
So
of
it's
those, you can't go wrong with any of those guys, right?
poster
But
on your bedroom wall is a good way of looking at it.
exactly. I would probably stick all three posters on my bedroom wall.
And that's it. And we could go through it with every single position. We have
Yeah,
Diggs, OBJ is coming. We have
yeah,
Drake London from the Falcons, Jesse
yeah.
Bates, Matt Milano, Roquan Smith. Like we could genuinely play the game all day. And I suppose are we able to say that these are the strongest rosters we've ever seen come to the UK because it is so star studded?
It really is. Yeah, I mean, look, in term, I don't, I've hard to measure that for sure. But going back over the years, we've been really lucky. And if you look at, and have had the opportunity to look back since 2007 at the number of star players, both kind of star in their own moment as well as retrospectively guys who've become Hall of Famers since then. I think just looking through the first couple of years, you have Michael Strahan, Jason Taylor, LaDainian Tomlinson, Drew Brees. That's 2 years worth of Hall of Famers in the first two games that were in London. So some of the young guys that we're looking at here, you mentioned some of the names, but the reality is that fans in the UK, fans in Europe are going to have the opportunity to see guys who are without doubt going to be Hall of Fame players in the future. And I think we're incredibly lucky to be able to do that.
We will have a lot of people, especially in Ireland, both north and south of the border today, booking flights to London and also to Frankfurt, Henry. For people obviously listening to this as well, we have been told by Virgin Media and the Republic that they'll be showing some of the games in London that are on TV,
Mm-hmm.
which is great news this season going forward. How excited are you guys to go to Frankfurt for the first time? Because it's a slightly smaller stadium, but infrastructure-wise, it's excellent to get around, and I think we're all very excited to get to it.
Yeah, I might show my age here, but actually, dating back to NFL Europe, which is kind of where my career with the NFL started, used to be able to go to Frankfurt Galaxy games, and I can tell you that stadium's fantastic, but also kind of around it, there's a tremendous amount of space, and I know that our events team, who's responsible for putting on all the awesome events around the games, are kind of really excited about filling that with fun things for fans to do before those games.
And staying on the topic of that, when Germany was first announced, it was supposed to be one game a year, and obviously it's up to two now, which is so exciting. Was that always planned, or was it that I know Michael and I have not stopped raving about the passion and the intensity from Munich last year that I still haven't come down from the high? Did that have an impact, just how special it was?
Yeah, I think there are probably a number of different factors that played into that. Certainly, the success of the first game, the appetite for the German fans, which I don't think surprised many of us, at least, that was the case. But then also the fact that for this year at least, Estadio Azteca in Mexico City is being renovated, so it gave us the opportunity to take a game that would have otherwise been played there and put a second one in Germany, and I suppose to some extent reward the fans for their passion and give them an opportunity to have two games in back-to-back weekends in Frankfurt this year as well.
Last one from me, Henry. We've seen with a lot of these teams, and obviously it was announced as the home designated teams in January. A lot of teams that haven't been over in recent years, especially. I'm looking at the Bills. A lot of fans are
Yep.
very, very excited. It seems to be like there's going to be a big influx of certain fans into London. Is there anything special planned, or is it all under wraps at the moment in terms of the fan
We'll
experience?
keep it under wraps for now. Then the three of us can have a chat in a couple months' time and talk about that. But yes, we will certainly. The fact that we've got three games over the course of 3 weeks allows us to do some other things around those games in the weeks in between, and there'll be events for fans to come and enjoy outside of just the game days themselves. And then we're going to do a lot, I think, to highlight, for example, the flag football that's been growing so much in the UK. to highlight our NFL Academy, who've been really successful and are sort of providing that pipeline of young players the opportunity to go and play college football in the US, and hopefully the next sort of set of star British and European players that are going to play in the NFL. So lots of different things planned, and looking forward to kind of unveiling those over the next few weeks. But I think, overall for the games themselves, Michael, you mentioned the number of Irish fans who are booking their flights to come to London and Frankfurt. My recommendation to them, strong recommendation, would be to get online right now, go to nfl.com/international games and register your interest in purchasing tickets, because that's going to be the best way / only way to make sure you have a chance to buy those tickets when they go on sale in the summer.
It's great that you said that. My girlfriend won't be too happy. We're supposed to be in Paris for the Rugby World Cup that weekend, and or one of the weekends, and it'll be gone now. But Michael, I want to give it back to you.
Both, Mark. I'm sure it's not far. Get on the train.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to commute.
2
Imagine
hours
commuting.
back.
Look at my life that I get to commute from Paris back again. Well, Michael, I'll let you run down the games in a second because I'm not sure we ever did it. But Henry, I will say to you that last year there was 5 of the 8 teams that played in Europe ended up in the playoffs. We have 10 teams this year.
Yeah.
Can we equal 5 teams going to the playoffs with this?
That's a great question. I'm going to say, you said what, 5 of the 8 teams last year? Yeah, I think there'll be at least 5 playoff teams from the 9 teams that are playing in Europe this year.
9. Yeah, that's amazing with the talent that's coming over. Way to go to everyone involved.
Yeah, thank you.
As you mentioned very quickly as well, Henry, excited for that NFL Academy game in Dublin in August also. Hopefully see you there. But thank you so much for your time. And just for folks wondering, Falcons, Jags, Bills, Ravens, Titans in London. And then we've got the Dolphins playing the Chiefs in Frankfurt, the Colts, Patriots in Frankfurt. I'll see you there. But Henry, just the very, very best over the next few months. Before you know it, it'll be kick-off week. Can't wait.
Exactly. Cheers, lads. Great to speak to you. And we'll catch up soon.